Good afternoon, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards forecaster. This weather outlook, we're looking at the big picture, of course, from all the way from parts of Western Europe across the Atlantic Ocean and to the Pacific coast of North America. The big picture here is we have this trough of lower pressure that is extended, kind of leftovers from several different weather systems that have taken effect here on the sort of northeastern side of North America. And we have a coastal area of low pressure that's currently off the coast. It's kind of combined with this old leftover system. So it's pulled a lot of moisture, a lot of low-level clouds, a lot of low-level moisture, which is going to just ramp it through basically Vermont and continue our sort of unsettled weather pattern. Not a whole lot of change going on right now. But as you can see, there's still some lighter showers or passing sprinkles that are going to have to move on through. And this is going to be the case over the next couple of days, probably going into Tuesday early evening, before high pressure will eventually build into the region. This will be a ridge that will actually be across the central Appalachians, southern Appalachians, and middle Atlantic coastal region. And that's going to push itself kind of ridge in and bring us 2 days of dry project weather. That's going to take place, it looks like, probably for Wednesday and Thursday. And then beyond that, another weather system will drop in with another coastal area of low pressure and this trough of lower pressure that's off the western Pacific coast that will begin to slide and move across the country and affect us later on. We have the Euro on the left-hand side, the GFS ensemble on the right-hand side. This area of precipitation, what's going to drop in basically as this is going to move out to sea. The two never really get together, kind of almost a Fujiwara effect where they spin around each other over a central point. But this will be dropping in, producing this frontal boundary and cooler air coming in, a weak area of low pressure as you can see here. And this is what's going to be delivering our unsettled weather through the day on really rest of today, Sunday, as well as into Monday. And it looks like as we get into Monday night and Tuesday, there still could be just a small flare-up of showers. You can see them here. Also the GFS ensemble indicating that. But that's the last day, as this area of higher pressure is going to ridge on in. It should bring us 2 days of dry weather, as I mentioned. This is basically for Wednesday and into the day on Thursday before this next trough of lower pressure begins to amplify and produce what could be a coastal low beyond the period and work it along the coast. This colder air aloft here, the 5,400 meter thicknesses, as you can see here, means basically a little bit of snow potential in some of the highest elevations. That's going to be dropping in. Once this area of low pressure moves on by, you can see it develop here. And as it does, it may tug on that colder air, and we could see just the first makings of a little bit of wet snowflake action on our local mountains. But it looks pretty limited and few and far between so far for this month of October here in the Green Mountain State. This is the 3-hourly QPF with the GFS ensemble centered grid on Montpelier. And you can see that we're into this sort of unsettled weather pattern with a little bit of something just about every day. 2 driest days come a little bit later on as we get into basically Wednesday and Thursday. And then more settled weather returns for as we head into this Friday and into the weekend, up and coming, with a little bit of a downtick in temperature. Again, we can see a little bit of snow on the tail end of this. So looking at the total precipitation type, you notice here just a tiny bit of snow. Otherwise, we're looking at all rain and indications at 850 temperatures atop roughly about the scale of Mount Mansfield. You can see that temperature warms up with a little bit of a warming trend and then a pretty good drop here, eventually going below the freezing mark, 0 degrees Celsius, about the height of Mount Mansfield. And that's where we could find that little bit of snow. But overall, total QPF is pretty limited. Not really looking at a whole lot here. We're up around 1 inch for the end of this entire period. By Friday, it looks like less than that, and of course just minimal amounts of precipitation. But on a daily basis, Sunday, rest of Sunday, Monday, as well as into Tuesday, and then drier weather thereafter. This pattern is generally dry across the country. The most precipitation we have is 1.5, almost 2 inches, right in the Albany-Schenectady area, basically west of the Berkshires, where it's going to be a little bit above normal, according to the Weather Prediction Center. And then basically about 1 inch here with these blue lines, a ½ inch here. So we're not looking at a whole lot in the way of precip. Note, it is dry over a good portion of the country. Pacific Northwest seeing that stuff coming off the Pacific. And this will be our next trophy business for next weekend, the following weekend, as it will have shifted across the country. Our 2-meter temperature anomalies look like this, with well above normal temperatures, and This is associated with some high latitude blocking, but colder over the Arctic, including Greenland. We have a little bit of colder than normal air into the region here, but things are going to start to warm on up. Let's take a look at the meteorological output statistics, or MOS. These are high temperatures over the next 5 days, and they're going to weighted average. You're going to be running about 3 degrees, maybe 4 or 5 degrees, almost 6 degrees above normal. And then about 3 days later, it looks like this, running about 3 to 6 degrees, continuing over the northeast United States. Coldest weather across the southeastern and eastern part of the U.S., with a pretty good warm-up coming in from California, spreading inland into west of the Mississippi. We have Sean, which is a tropical depression, and then we have this system here, which is 90% chance of a cyclone formation over the course of the next 7 days. This would be taking a hit on potentially the Lesser Antilles, but it looks like it's going to basically curve out to sea and not be a factor for North America. And looking at the 51-member ensemble, it looks like this. So this is our system here. It's going to be taking a track toward the Lesser Antilles, and then this is the Azores high, and a weak trough of low pressure will be over the area, and that's what will spin up that nor'easter. But needless to say, that's going to take that system pretty much out to sea, and no worries expected. I'm going to show you the daily snow extent here and the anomalies. So right now this is the northern hemisphere, and what we can see is, if anything, a little bit on the lower end. Looking at the extent of the anomaly here, we're running below normal and headed below normal. That's for the northern hemisphere as a whole. Looking at North America, below normal, and even Eurasia, we're looking at conditions running below normal, but a little bit more back and forth. So the snow extent for Eurasia up to now is pretty minimal, and that may bode as a warm and very limited snow amount for North America. Stay tuned. A lot of things have to happen. This also may kind of force in maybe lesser than normal predicted sudden stratospheric warming events, and that would also indicate a stronger polar vortex. And if that were to take place, we would see less colder air making it into our neck of the woods here, and it could be more of a rainy, icy kind of winter. These are just the early interpretations, so take it with a grain of salt at this point in time. Roger Hill, Weathering Heights. Thanks for watching.